Currently, there are 2 so-called insta-heal add-ons in Dead by Daylight, 3 if you count the refined serum. But have you ever wondered why they are called instant, as their current description doesn't mention that in any form? Well, this is just an old term left over from when these add-ons truly were insta-heals. So, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the history of insta-heals in DBD and how they got completely removed from the game. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Dead by Daylight was released to the public during the early summer of 2016, more specifically on the 14th of June. Back then, the developers seemingly had an obsession with making everything instant. For example, the Ivory and Ebony Memento Moris required no hook states and survivors could be moried on their first down, thus they were called insta-moris. All brand new parts could instantly repair a generator the same frame they were used, and so they were called the insta-gen. The Oddbulb add-on gave killers no time to react to the fact that they were being blinded, thus it was called the insta-blind, and so on. As you might have already guessed, the anti-hemorrhagic syringe and the styptic agent add-ons were no exception to this trend. Let's quickly read the description of these add-ons to understand how they functioned. Styptic agent, a white powder with coagulant properties. Apply the agent to a wound to stop it from hemorrhaging. Reduces charges by -25%. Instantly heal 1 health state on secondary action. Depletes the medkit on use. An anti-hemorrhagic substance that stops the bleeding in a matter of seconds. Reduces charges by -50%. Instantly heal 2 whole health states on secondary action. Depletes the medkit on use. Yes, you're reading this correctly. Back in the early days of Dead by Daylight, the anti-hemorrhagic syringe could fully heal 2 entire health states, which meant that, for example, if a killer downed a survivor in front of you, you could literally just go up to them while the killer was in the cooldown animation and use the add-on on your teammate to instantly get them back up to full health, and there was literally nothing that the killer could do about it. This is actually quite similar to the For the People Buckle Up perk combo that we have today, except now both survivors enter the deep wound state and have to mend themselves, while back then the 2 survivors were left completely healthy and uninjured. Even the styptic agent was much stronger, since it always guaranteed value, unlike today where it only makes sense for the add-on to be used while in chase, and its effectiveness depends on whether the killer has noticed that your medkit has disappeared. Not only that, but there was also one perk which technically wasn't an insta-heal, but basically had the same effect, and that was Will Make It. You might think to yourself, how can such an innocent perk like Will Make It cause so much trouble? Oh well, this perk was definitely not very innocent. Version 1.0.0. Helping others heightens your morale. Gain an additional 100% healing speed increase up to a maximum of 300% for 120 seconds. How was this problematic, you may ask? Well, notice how the perk's description doesn't specify that the speed increase is only for altruistic healing. Yeah, this buff was also applied to self-healing. Not only that, but the timer would also reset every time you saved a teammate from the hook. This, along with the fact that the base self-healing speed was a whopping 12 instead of today's 24 seconds, and the fact that the killer's cooldown animation after a successful hit was slightly longer, meant that with the maximum 300% speed buff, you could literally heal yourself faster than the killer could hit you. This was one of the most ridiculous perk interactions that have ever existed in Dead by Daylight. Thankfully, unlike most other ridiculous mechanics in the game, the developers were really quick to act on this one, and just a couple of weeks after DBD's initial release, Will Make It was nerfed very significantly, as it no longer affected self-healing. Healing speeds were also increased to 16 seconds a few patches later. However, the insta-heal add-ons were left completely untouched, up until the 1.8.3 patch in late 2017. Not only were both insta-heal add-ons much stronger back then, but they were also one rarity lower than they are today, with the anti-hemorrhagic syringe being very rare instead of iridescent, and the styptic agent being rare instead of very rare. This meant that the chance to get these add-ons in the Blood Web was also much higher, meaning that it was easier to get your hands on them, and therefore, killers encountered insta-heals more frequently. You know how bad it feels to have a survivor pop a syringe or a styptic in the middle of a chase today, right? Well, back in the earlier days of DBD, this feeling was even worse. Not to mention the situations where you could literally have all of your pressure taken away from you with the simple click of a button. It was clear that a big rework was needed, but guess what? The developers, in typical Bhvr fashion, implemented a simple band-aid fix to try and calm the situation down. What did they change? Well, they just simply increased both add-ons rarity by 1 tier, making it so that the anti-hemorrhagic syringe was now iridescent and the styptic agent very rare. It should be noted that at the time, the developers considered this change expressly to be intended as a nerf, hoping to reduce the add-ons appearances in the Blood Web by increasing their rarity, making them rarer in trials. Of course, from a gameplay perspective, this fixed practically nothing, as the problem wasn't how rare these add-ons were, it was the fact that they even existed in the first place. Players were becoming increasingly more frustrated with Bhvr's seemingly naive incompetence, and things needed to change. So, finally, after 3.5 years of killers being absolutely terrorized by insta-heals, the developers decided to completely rework these two add-ons. With the release of the archives in the 3.3.0 PTB, the two insta-heal add-ons received their long-awaited reworks. Styptic Agent now applies the Endurance status effect for 15 seconds on use. Use with secondary action. Depletes medkit on use. Anti-hemorrhagic syringe now heals survivor passively over 8 seconds. Time is modified by perks and add-ons that affect healing speeds. The effect is cancelled if the survivor changes health state or gets picked up. Depletes medkit on use. As you can see, these numbers are quite different from the ones that we have today. And yeah, that's because these were the numbers in the PTB, which got changed for the live release of the update, making it so that the syringe heals 1 health state over a period of 16 seconds, and so that the styptic agent provides endurance for 8 seconds. This was finally it. Even though these add-ons were still very strong, they were nowhere near their previous strength. Gone were the days of killers losing all of their pressure because of a simple button pressed by one of the survivors. But this wasn't the end for insta-heals. 4 months after the add-ons rework, the developers got an idea for a new insta-heal perk, though this time it would be much more balanced. On the 18th of February 2020, the public test build for Chapter 15, The Chains of Hate, was released. This update included a new map, Dead Dog Saloon, a new killer, the Death Slinger, and a new survivor, Zarina Kassir. Zarina came with 3 new perks, these being For the People, Off the Record, and Red Herring. Pretty much all of her perks back then were hot garbage, with one exception that stood out from the rest, For the People. This new perk allowed you to transfer a health state to another survivor, effectively insta-healing them, but with the downside that you lose a health state yourself. At the time that Chapter 15 was released, For the People wasn't very popular, and only started to gain a bit of traction when the Soul Guard perk came out with the Silent Hill DLC. Compare that to now, when it's arguably a meta perk with the new buffed and improved Buckle Up. Half a year after the release of For the People, the developers decided to add a brand new medkit syringe item that consumes the item on use. However, this time it wouldn't be an insta-heal, but instead more like an insta-speed boost. The Eternal Blight was an in-game event that occurred between the 21st of October and the 4th of November 2020, and that kicked off the in-game celebrations in honor of Halloween. Along with usual lobby decorations and Halloween-themed items, for example the All Hallow Eve's Lunchbox Medkit and Will-O-Wisp Flashlight, this event also added several new add-ons. Among them was the so-called Refined Serum. This new add-on worked the following way. Press the secondary action button while healing yourself or another survivor with a medkit to use the Refined Serum. Increases the movement speed of the affected survivor by plus 5% for the next 20 seconds. Creates a Blight trail behind the affected survivor. Refined Serum consumes the medkit on use. Since then, no changes to insta-heals were made, except for the following few. For the people, got the broken status effect duration reduced from 90 to 60 seconds in patch 5.3.0, and the insta-heal add-ons received a slight nerf, along with the other medkit and healing changes in the 6.7.0 update. The refined serum got its effect's duration reduced from 20 to 16 seconds, the anti-hemorrhagic syringe got its self-healing speed increased to 24 from the previous 16 seconds, and the styptic agent got the endurance effect reduced from 8 to 5 seconds. This, I believe, was the last time that insta-heals got changed, though I may be wrong. Let me know if I missed anything down in the comments, I would really appreciate it. Well, I guess that was it. We went through the entire history of insta-heals in Dead by Daylight. I really hope you enjoyed the video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!